The three drivers in front of me are from a brand that are well and truly back in the big time, in my opinion. Recent years, we've seen new products from Wilson, which is really starting to hit the heights and match up to the major competitors. Which one of these three is suited to me and which one might be suited to you? Three brand new drivers from Wilson Golf. So three new driver heads in the lineup to cover everybody's needs. We've got the Max product, we've got a carbon model, and then we've got the LS, that low spin model. So I think we'll start with this one. It's a better launch, yeah, in my shape. So I'm going to start off with the Max product. It is, of course, the one that is aimed at the masses. Balls have hit so far, what have I sort of seen? Well, first of all, club sounds and feels really nice off the club face. Minor detail, but it does. We'll talk about the address and the aesthetics on this thing shortly. I'm going to be doing what is, it won't be a head-to-head by any means, because I'm going to feature all three drivers, and all three have got very different loft settings. 10.5 in the Max, we've got 8 degrees in the LS, and in the standard product we've got, or the carbon product, we've got a 9-degree head. But I will use the same shaft in all, which is a Denali 60 gram stiff shaft. Those sets of numbers there are pretty much similar to what I've been collecting so far. Interestingly enough, spin dipped a little bit on that one, but again, just looking at those key factors, which is club head speed or ball speed in relationship to club head speed, is a smash factor of 1.9. That means this driver is very, very efficient, and we'll see if we can just get a little bit quicker and see how far we can get this thing out there. But all told, so far, pretty impressive. Got a 135 ball speed, a little bit of a cut, 224 carry. Yet again, oddly enough, for the Max product, spinning oddly low. We'll try a few different things, and I will carry on collecting data with this product. Well, I've got to say the first thing is aesthetically the carbon model is a leap forward from the Max, and that's both from shelf appeal underneath. It's superb, probably the best looking Wilson driver I've seen to date, and that's both top and bottom because they've done a great job of the crown. High gloss, not necessarily always my thing, but they've done it really well, and they've got this matte sort of line across the face. Just looks really good at address, and a nice profile. Everything about this is spot on. Got a different feel out of that as well, which was interesting. Not the best ball to start with in terms of carry distance. Maybe again, interesting enough, just spinning very much on the low side, which is something that they'll be looking to achieve, and that's getting a sort of a high launching ball coupled with a low spin. But the problem is, at the moment at least anyway, on that shot, combination isn't quite right. It's a better combination of the two numbers. So interestingly enough, the balls you see me hit first of all with the carbon model they're just flat out knuckle balls, and I can't get any sort of launch on them, and I can't get the ball spinning to a level. It's just dropping out the sky, which might be good in the hands of some golfers, but this is certainly not set up for me. My worry is if the carbon model is spinning so low, what happens when we move into the LS? It's going to be just an absolute grass cutter. But I have just made a change. This standard head in the carbon was 9 degrees. I've just added 2 degrees of loft. We've managed to get a couple of balls that have got to a realistic spin number and also a realistic carry. Now, irrelevant of what we find out with this product, it just shows me how important custom fit is. Yeah, just literally change it up completely. So we got up to a 226 carry, 17 launch, 2,500 revs of spin. So if I'd have put this camera on just 5-10 minutes ago, you'd have had a very negative feedback on what I was trying. And that was really because I had the wrong product in my hand, the wrong kind of setup. Custom fit is just so important. Anyway, I'll carry on with the thing I really liked about it, irrelevant to the low spin early on, was the sound and feel is very different. Quality, love it in terms of acoustics, and I love the look. I was just disappointed with the performance. But hopefully we can sort of, we've certainly picked up on launch. That was a big cross ball, as in cut, which again is down to my performance. But we are starting to see a pickup in ball speeds, but that smash factor is not very efficient right now. And like I said, let's see if we can get that improved as we go. Yeah, back up to sort of where I'd expect to be. Spin again. Not too sure why the spin is being affected so greatly. Almost perfect in many ways, which is that kind of high launch of 15 degrees coupled with low spin if we had a couple of thousand more revs. But we've still got a real sort of disparity in terms of club head speed and ball speed relationship. My smash factor is a little bit worryingly low for me with this carbon model. I'll carry on hitting balls with this and then I'll switch up into the LS, which should be interesting. Right, before I start hitting the LS, something that just want to mention. Again, it's got the same aesthetics as the carbon model, so looks superb. And again, same crown, just a slightly different profile. Something to pick up on is there's a changeable weight system within the carbon and with the LS that doesn't happen in the Max. The weights are heavier in the LS, so there's more ability to swap a heavier weight to the front and back and switch around than there is on the carbon, which I found a little bit odd. And like I said, for some reason, Wilson have decided to send me an 8-degree head, which I can honestly say I don't think I've ever hit in my life. But we've also again added, before we even start, I've added loft. Super feel off that, and a great ball speed. What is the spin? I mean, if anybody knows what happens with TrackMan, when a number is in italics, it is essentially guessing to a degree. I'm not sure why it's not picking up that number. So sometimes you will see that. Efficiency-wise, you've got, they felt superb. You've got 218 carry. Let's go with that total of 258 because that's important, because we've got a ball at launch at 12.9 and spinning at 1530 means it's just running out for miles. And like I said, efficiency-wise, 149 smash factor means the ball speeds are very good relative to my club head. The worry is again, that was nowhere near as good in terms of where it hit off the face, but still performed incredibly well. Yeah, that spin number, it's in italics again, so it's a TrackMan guesstimate. You can see the efficiency wasn't as good because we dropped off with ball speed. But the combination of everything means that we've still got a sort of 250 ball down the middle. What I really like about this club more than any, again, I just cannot get the ball. Can't get the ball launching and spinning. It's that combination, because from a feel perspective, I don't know how much differs between the two, because from a tech point of view and what's inside this head, they shouldn't in theory be any different, but there's a sort of a balance between a sort of soft feel and powerful. And I feel like I'm hitting the ball really well with this. And in a way, yeah, achieving the results, but in a worrying way, because again, 222, 260 overall is a big, big drive for me. But that spin number is telling me that, you know, I shouldn't be anywhere near it. Yeah, again, poor strike. You could tell I'm trying to almost launch that one Right, so it is numbers time. Trackman will tell us a tale, hopefully at least, because it's a really interesting one. Don't go anywhere until the very end, because you'll learn, well, I think you will anyway, at least learn something very interesting about data and about performance, and it's not as straightforward as you sometimes think. Anyway, starting off with that Wilson Max product, which I really enjoyed, to be fair. It was, I would describe it as a kind of very easy to play, high launching driver, very user friendly. We got a 222 average carry, 92 club head speed, 247 rollout overall distance. And again, that relationship between, I hope everybody's getting onto this now, this relationship between ball speed and club head speed. A ball will only go so far, or your ball speed will only be so fast, and it'll be relevant to your club head speed. That is what smash factor is. We're getting as close to 1.50 as we can, and we had a smash factor at 147. It was very efficient. And that spin number, apart from those last two, were where we'd want them to be. So getting a combination of a launch of 15.6, a spin of 2.355 with those ball speeds means it was a very efficient driver, and like I said, performed very well. What I want to show you is this though, first of all, before we go any further. With that club in hand, the Max, that was the heat map as to where I was hitting the ball on the face. And what you can see there is we weren't getting the ball out of the middle, it was very much high on the face, and that is both a positive and a negative. The positive is, how good did the club perform in off-centre hits? Really, really well. And the fact that it produced all those numbers with off-centre hits is very, very effective. The negative is I haven't been custom fit for any of these drivers, and that's an issue. And we could definitely, with some work, move that strike location, get out the centre of the club face, and have a more efficient club altogether. So that's first thing we really need to bear in mind. Right, go into the Wilson Carbon product, and we will see 219 carry. So a drop off in carry distance compared to what we've seen from the Max. But at 247 and 248, the rollout distance was almost identical. So that's where it's suggesting it would finish once we apply the spin and the launch. And spin and launch again, we're okay in the averages, 1.46 smash factor, again, relatively good. The worrying thing is with the Carbon was, like I said, early on, I was hitting some real low spin numbers. We made an adjustment and added 2 degrees aloft, and that's this kind of run of numbers here, which become much more sort of where you'd want them to be, but also brought that average in line with where we'd want it. The last ball just dropped off a little bit. But again, a good set of numbers based on, without being perfect by a long way. And I'm going to show you this same thing, which is a heat map, which shows, again, I was very much hitting on the wrong part of the club face. So, won't repeat it, positive and negative logic behind that. Final ball, and the one I was really worried about based on what we'd achieved there, was the problem that we had with that spin number. How much was that going to affect the LS model? Well, it did and it didn't. The spin was a real issue, but it performed surprisingly well. We got a 217 overall carry, low carry distance, again, because of the launch and spin combined. But the rollout meant it was the longest ball in the test. That's the first and real interesting lesson for me, is that just because you aren't carrying the furthest doesn't mean to say it could be the longest driver that would suit your game. Now, I wouldn't choose this driver for a number of reasons, but the main one being that spin just is too low for me and would be a little bit worrying. But it's not to say it very much, you could see the difference in what Wilson have tried to do with the technology in each of these clubs and how they perform differently. But you'll see again, we just dropped off a little bit, and mainly that 1.41 had a real impact on smash factor. But at 1.45, probably a little surprisingly good for me, that LS model. And once again, I will show you that impact location, which is off center and also high in the face, which is, like I said, both positive and negative. You do need to get custom fit with whatever driver you had in your hands. For me, Wilson have got a real interesting lineup here. For the first time in quite a few years, to be honest with you, it's very effective what they're doing each of those driver heads. What you've got to do is make sure you get the right one that suits your game. Neither of these drivers were optimized for me, and that could have been with the shaft head combination, with the loft combination, but for whatever reason, none of these worked as good as I believe they could if we'd have gone through that custom fit process and got all those parameters suited to me. But either way, an amazing job what Wilson have done there. Got aesthetics really good, got some great shelf appeal, superb at address. The performance is good, but custom fit is paramount in my opinion if you're going to consider putting one of these in the bag. Right, that's me done. As ever, thanks as ever for watching. Sensible comments down below, try and have a look at the data, make some sense of it yourself, and let me know your feedback. And I will see you all very soon. Thanks for watching.